Dear mayors, at this time of Cambridge Analytica putting on top artificial intelligence presidents and prime ministers, you keep real democracy alive. Thank you. I think we are the first generation who has to think of a possibility of a future. The future we want is a future, not extinction. And every scientific indicator is showing that an economy, a model of science that has put extinction at the center of progress will, of course, have the humanity follow all the other species, the 200 species per day that we are losing. The sixth mass extinction that is 1,000 times more rapid than the normal rate of disappearance of species. So the future we want is not extinction. And that's why the young people are rising everywhere. They are not debating whether extinction is a possibility or not. We've just celebrated Gandhi's 150 years of his birth anniversary. And Gandhi had said, the earth provides enough for everyone's needs, but not for a few people's greed. So inclusion is built into the way the earth works, and the earth is alive. We've been told about a few hundred years ago, around the time when I'm shorter. And that is also a diversity we need, the short and the tall, the fat and the thin. Fossil fuels, which is really the earth fossilizing living carbon over 600 million years. And I think she put it deep down so it could be left down there. And she left the living carbon in the biosphere for us to work with her to increase it. We fossilized our minds and declared that the earth is dead. She's pure inert matter to extract. We created a mechanistic mind and fossilized and desertified our minds of all the diversity of intelligence that we share with the earth. So much new work being done on plant intelligence, on animal intelligence, on our gut, which is called the second brain. And I want to congratulate Copenhagen for making its public feeding programs 90% organic. I think every city should be moving towards fossil fuel-free, poison-free, toxic-free food for their citizens. And that step alone will contribute 100% to the solutions and get rid of 50% of the problem. The production of fossil fuel-based chemical food takes 11 to 15% of the greenhouse gases, including the nitrous oxides that are 300 times more deadly than carbon dioxide in destabilizing the climate. But land use changes and desertification and deforestation, which are usually not counted in the normal emissions from agriculture, 15 to 20%, the Amazon is burning today for GMO soya. And we don't need to do that because not only are we losing the lungs of the planet, we are getting bad diets. And why do we have to move junk food around the planet, forcing it on people through so-called sanitary and phytosanitary rules that destroy local food, healthy food, diversity of cultures? 15 to 20% is coming from the food miles, the aluminum, the plastic, and all the styrofoam in the packaging. And then we waste 4%. That's 50% of the emissions. And yet, in our amazing living systems of the earth, and we just have to remember again that the earth is living through her biodiversity and the living functions of the biosphere. The earth regulates the temperature, the climate, and has created the conditions for our species to evolve. This is what James Lovelock, the NASA scientist, reminded us of. And if we work with the Earth, and we pull down all that extra carbon dioxide and pull down all that extra nitrous oxide into the plants and into the soil, we can actually draw down 52 gigatons of carbon dioxide. This would keep us within the 1.5 degrees limit. And we'd actually have a green planet, we'd have real food, good food for all people, but most importantly, we'll have work for more hands. Because not only did the fossil fuel era destroy climate, it destroyed our way of thinking, making us mechanical. It destroyed our relationships, making us separate, fossilizing our hearts and not just our minds. And then it fossilized our hands, because the measure of productivity in a fossil economy is how many people can you get rid of work. That's called productivity. The input in industrial agriculture is purely farmers, and they're aiming for farming without farmers. But farming without farmers means no one to care for the planet, no one to plant a seed, no one to conserve the water, no one to bring you real food. Farming without farmers means the end of food, and it means an end to the future. And that is why those who have so mechanized their thought are now talking about extinction as inevitable and escape as the new step of progress. And they're spending billions and billions on going to Mars, a dead planet, when this amazing Earth, a living planet, inviting us to take care of her, to look after her. Extinction is not inevitable. Escape is an irresponsibility of the super rich. Taking care of the Earth in an inclusive way is the future. And there is no place better than a garden where we become one with the Earth. You put your hands in the soil, you plant a seed. You get seeds, you get food, and you get yourself. People have forgotten that little children gardening are for the first time getting out of depression. Criminals gardening are getting out of violence. The fossilized economy has told us our hands are useless. Our hearts are dead. Our minds don't work. And therefore, we have to outsource what little we have of our behaviors and our thinking into artificial intelligence, to then have our minds manipulated for a fake democracy. Our challenge today is not just a green agenda. It's not just an inclusive agenda. It's an agenda of an intelligent, compassionate human species. We are capable of that. That's our potential. And my quantum training has taught me that the two things that the mechanistic paradigm killed, which are a part of reality, the part of how nature works. First is non-separability. That was my PhD thesis, non-separability in quantum theory. We are not separable. And therefore, inclusion is the very way of being. Diversity and mutuality are the two fundamental principles of ecosystems and of human societies. And the second is potential. We are not fixed entities, dumb or brilliant, to be disposed of or to go to Mars. We are all having the potential to care, the potential to regenerate, the potential to be one as humanity on one beautiful planet. Thank you.